Greetings, lovely to have you here. A very warm welcome to this, another edition of the Coaching Hour podcast. As you know by now, if you've enjoyed these shows, let's call them that, they are brought to you in partnership with Coaches Network South Africa. My name is Paul Rotherham. I'm joined as always by Mareka and Mary, who are not only partners in this podcast, but also partners in the initiative that is Coaches Network South Africa. So if you're not watching this on Facebook, do check out our Coaches Network SA Facebook page. I'm sure you'll find heaps of content there that really does speak to you. Speaking to you is what we do in these sessions, and today we're joined by, I'm not going to refer to her as a guest, I'm going to refer to her as a friend, because she is a wonderful lady who I've known for many years. She's been involved, I guess you could say, in the world of coaching as well for many years, perhaps slightly different to the modalities that we normally chat about, because our guest today is a reflexologist. Mareka, who's joining us?
Yes, we have Veronica Tift again with us today, and it's the second time that we've been interviewing her. But specifically today, we want to talk about your speciality, Veronica. So welcome again. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you. It's so awesome to be here, guys. Always love chatting, especially about something I'm so passionate about. It's just exciting to be able to share with people a little bit more about reflexology, because I think it's kind of a mystery for a lot of people. It's quite an unknown. And often when I say to people, I'm a reflexologist, I get like this really confused look. Some people nod along, and then I'll just say, "You don't know what that is, do you?" And they'll go, "No." So it's really awesome to have this space to be able to share a little bit more about exactly what it is.
Yes, I think, and that's why we wanted to talk about this, specific topic, because it is so, well, we're not sure exactly, how it works, what it is, and the benefits that one can gain from it. So I think it's, so important to delve a bit deeper into this topic for today.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm excited.
Right. Good. Would you like me to share your slides?
Yeah, absolutely. We can start sharing the slides.
Perfect.
I'll start by just giving a little bit of background on myself. So I am a therapeutic reflexologist. So I have a 2-year diploma in reflexology, which, very proud to say, is one of the highest qualifications you can get in the world for reflexology. I also have a 2-year love, sex, and relationship coaching qualification from the Vita Institute in America. And I'm currently finishing my major in female sexuality and a year-long educational certificate with my sexual health. So I'm a busy, busy bee. I've been married for 19 years and I have 2 kids. And actually, I started with reflexology when I gave birth to my daughter. It's 15 years ago. So she had a couple of different niggles and a couple of different issues, and I just was feeling really frustrated going from doctor to doctor and not getting any true answers around exactly what was going on with her. And I felt that I was given medication, wasn't really told what it does, what it's for, how long she would take it, what are the side effects of taking it for 6 months or whatever the case may be. And I kind of realized I needed to take the responsibility for my family's health into my own hands. I felt like I was just giving it into the hands of the doctors and just saying, well, you kind of sort this out. And that's when I started looking into different types of healing modalities, and reflexology was one of them. I was just blown away with how well it worked. It really, really blew my mind. And I actually started studying more as a skeptic than anything else, because I was like, I've seen this work, but I don't understand how it works. So I really went into my studies in the International School of Reflexology and Meridian Therapy as a skeptic, and was challenging them almost to prove to me, how does this work? And needless to say, I'm a believer now. So we can go to the next slide. Right, so we look at reflexology. It has been around. We can see evidence of this. As you can see there, there's this beautiful illustration from ancient Egypt, right? It traces right back to there. There's evidence of this being used in China, in India. And even when I was studying and I did my research into the history of reflexology, I found that a lot of cultures across the world really relate and talk about feet. Often we'll do like a barefoot pilgrimage home, really connecting into the earth. I feel even the Maasai, when they're jumping, like their feet are just hitting the ground. You know, there's this real deep connection throughout history. Even in the Bible, they talk about feet quite a bit, about feet related to healing and caring. And I think the fact that it's been around for so long really speaks to how effective this modality is, right? It wouldn't be something that we've seen for the last however many years if it was something that just didn't work. And the fact that it stood this test of time really, really speaks to it. So when we speak about modern reflexology, we talk about Dr. William Fitzgerald as being one of the first to kind of bring this idea of pressure points on the hands and the feet to create what he called the different zones. So he would use different zones of the feet to relate to different parts of the body. And he used clamps, and he used clothes, pegs, whatever he could kind of use to put pressure onto different points of the feet. And he even published a paper. He published many papers actually, and one was to stop the toothache, squeeze your toe. And that was over 100 years ago. And when he was showing his colleagues all of this like amazing results he was getting, and this was before anesthetic was really being used. And so doctors were really looking for different ways of managing pain, of helping their patients be able to kind of even go into the throes of surgery. And one of the you know, he just made believers of people who were witnessing this. And one of the people who witnessed this was a physical therapist called, and I hope I'm saying her name right, Ingus Ingham, fingers crossed. And she's been known as the mother of modern reflexology. She really took Fitzgerald's work of zoning, and she created what we use today as kind of a foot map, which is really mapping the body onto the soles of the feet. And I feel like reflexology is still evolving. We are just still learning so much. There are so many different branches of reflexology, and there's so many theories. The studies that have come out have been amazing. Like, science is really starting to get excited about the benefits of reflexology. And yeah, it's just so exciting to see how it's developing and unfolding even still now. So yeah, we can go to the next slide. Thank you. So if you look at this, this is kind of a very crude, basic illustration of the fundamental concept of reflexology, right? So we talk about the hands and the feet and the ears even mirroring the body. And by applying direct pressure to these specific points of the body, we are really trying to restore balance, if anything else, just restore the sense of homeostasis within the body. And it does this through lots of different ways. But the way that we map the body on the feet, you can see there's kind of like the head is in the toes, and then we go down into the ball of the foot, and you'd see the lungs, and so it goes down. And sometimes a reflexologist might feel something in these different areas. They might notice that there's a different texture, or we often can feel really hard spots. There's different ways that reflexologists can pick up on exactly where in the body there might be a blockage. And this doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, we're feeling something in the lungs, you have an issue with your lungs, right? There are so many layers to us as human beings. Not only do you look at the areas of the lungs and you go, well, hang on, my lungs are here, but so is my rib cage, so is my heart, so is my chest, so is my back, so is my spine. So we're a 3D model, you know, we're not just as flat as what that image is. And as reflexologists, we're looking at the emotional connection, the energy that's in there. We look at different things like the texture of the skin, the dryness maybe. We're looking at the color of the skin. We're looking at the different colors in different areas on the foot. We're looking at the shape of the foot. You know, it's really not as simple as, oh, there's this in the spot of the foot, that must mean that. There's so many different ways of working with the foot and thinking about the body. And while I say that, one thing we definitely do not do is diagnose, and we definitely do not say that we cure anything. And so those are two very important things to just remember, that we're really here as a support to the body and to maybe help people to be guided into an area of their body they hadn't maybe considered, or even emotion they didn't realize was still sitting there or trapped. And it's almost like more preventative in a lot of ways, you know. And yeah, so it's really is a beautiful modality, but definitely not one that is a cure-all, or that I'm going to diagnose you with something. Please don't go to your GP and say, I need a chest x-ray because my reflexologist picked up something in my lungs.
Veronica, out of interest, I see that the picture we're looking at now shows the body that's been placed over both feet. Does it
Yes.
literally end sort of down at the bum? Are the legs not represented at all in the feet?
So it's the bottom of the feet and the top of the feet, the sides, you know, as I say, we kind of a 3D model. There are a lot of different schools of thought. So some people will move up the body. I've worked with some reflexologists who will say like the lungs are also in the calves. And you know, and so it goes. The ears are really also mapped. If you look at the ears, the shape of the ear even is kind of like the shape of a baby in utero, right? So it's this beautiful correlation, and we can also see the different reflexes on the ears. We see the different reflexes in the hands. So those are the three kind of main reflexes that we work with and look at. But there are definitely other schools of thought and other modalities that will move up the body and say, okay, this reflex is also here. If we press this, we find that this really helps. You know, if my kids are sick, I'll often rub Vicks up the back of their calves, and it helps. It really helps. And so I'm saying, well, if it works for you and it's something that works and it's something that you bring your intention into that space, great, do it.
I must say, I was a skeptic when I first heard about this, and it was many, many years ago. I went to a reflexologist. I think I was on the radio at the time, and somebody got hold of me and they said, "Oh, we can tell that you don't believe in all of this, because obviously now it's way more accepted than it was 20, 30 years ago when people still looked at it as hocus pocus." And I remember going for my very first reflexology treatment, and it must have been about 40 minutes, I would say, as a guess. And apart from the physical relaxation and feeling good, I'm a bit ticklish in places, which I guess some people can be, so that can be difficult. But aside from that, it was really an incredible experience. And it was a gentleman who did it. And he said to me, he said, "All right, you've been drinking some water as well," because I was very thirsty afterwards. And he said,
Yeah.
"Right, now go to the loo and tell me what you see." It's like, "What do
Yeah.
you mean? Tell me what you see." So just go to the go and have your wee. And anyway, and not to get graphic, but I tell you what, that was what cemented my belief in this modality, was seeing how my body had detoxed just during those half an hour, 30 minute, 40 minutes of being treated. It was unbelievable. When I went for my wee, I was like, "Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me?" And he was saying, "No, no, no, no." He said, "This is what happens when you treat a patient via reflexology." And that, to me, because a lot of these things, until you've experienced it, it's just another one of those airy fairy ideas that people talk about. But I tell you, if you haven't had reflexology, go, just try it. It is the most incredible experience, or at least that's how I found it.
Yeah. For me, I'm a huge fan. And I also, like you, Paul, just saw the benefits, saw the results, and went, what? You know, I don't understand how this worked. Like, this really did a thing. And for me, what I find most incredible is often how well children respond to this modality, and babies respond. And I'm going, well, it can't be in a baby's mind to know what I'm doing. You know, there can be an element of the placebo effect, but really, when you're seeing the physical results on your body, you didn't placebo that that's what's going to happen, and yet that was the result. I think it's really just speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Oh, we can do the next slide.
Next.
So how reflexology works. So this is a question I get asked quite a bit, and it often flusters me, to be honest, this question of how reflexology works, because there are so many theories and reasons. I almost just want to say, just because it does, you know, just believe me, just do it. But as reflexology is developed and as it's emerging as a real true modality, I mean, therapeutic reflexologists are registered with Allied Health. So there is an element of just understanding the mechanism behind it. So there's a couple of different ways that works. So one of the ways they call the pain gate control theory. And this is that pain often is in the mind, right? There is an element of our minds and brains understanding pain. And I think when you think about pain, if you walk into a table or you bang your shin, often your first instinct is to rub the area. We really do this, and then it kind of feels better. And even if our kids kind of whack themselves, you say, oh, come here, baby, and you kind of just like you'll rub this area. So there's definitely an instinct of touch into an area of pain. Like we already have this innately as just part of our way of making ourselves feel better. And I think when I was looking at this pain gate there, it really, to me, spoke to Mary's experience in hospital, when she was sharing around how really she mentally overcame her physical circumstances. She really brought this idea of like, what does this illness mean to me to be able to heal from it? And so I think reflexology, one of the ways that it does work is just by having somebody, sit with you in their pain, understand your pain, and then you're actively doing something with it. You're actively doing something to heal your body, and the way that you maybe relate to that pain can be very powerful. The nerve impulses in the feet, that's estimated there are over 7,200 nerve endings. So when we're stimulating the nerves, and we know our nervous system controls our fight or flight, and so we can really understand how therapeutic touch, having a beautiful, calming touch, can start to regulate that nervous system, can start to just let the nerves know, okay, we're okay. And in the world that we live in, we're constantly receiving sensory input, right? We're always getting information from everything in our environment. And so when we just kind of just allow that to stop, and we can allow our bodies to rest and digest instead of being in fight or flight, that's when we can allow healing to start taking place. And I see it often with people when they come into the room. They will come in and they're hot and they're breathing, and by the end of the session, like the breathing's even calmed down. And for people who've been seeing me for a really long time, the most powerful thing happens that on their drive to see me, they already start relaxing. They'll go, I woke up this morning knowing I was seeing you today and I felt better. Like, it's really just incredible how the nervous system is preparing itself for like, oh, we know what we're doing today. Then we look at the meridian theory, right? So we have meridians in the traditional Chinese medicine. They call them meridians, and they're energy channels that run through the entire body. And when there's a blockage on the channel, that's when they will say that's when there's illness. And we see those energy channels running into the feet. So when we're working on the reflexes, I'm also working on your meridians. I'm also unblocking these energy pathways. And again, I'm getting feedback from the body around what is possibly, where is there a possible blockage of energy onto your feet based on what I'm seeing, which toe is feeling really a little bit more sensitive. And so another one of the ways how reflexology works is the meridian therapy. And then the therapeutic relationship, which I think is just so beautiful. When you find a reflexologist or any body care worker, any healthcare worker who just really sees you, where you can go into that space and really drop in and just be held, be cared for, be looked after, there's already this shift that can start to happen in your body, in your mind, that begins to heal naturally. I think often day to day, we do not stop. We do not check in with our body. How are you feeling today, body? There's no awareness of how our body is actually functioning. And so when you come into my space and I go, hey, how are you feeling? And people are like, oh, yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I don't actually know. I'm just busy taking the kids to school and making lunches and thinking about dinner. And so when you bring this grounding awareness into your body, already there can start to be this healing. We need to name it to tame it, and we need to feel it to heal it. And so sometimes when we're on go, 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 we don't allow ourselves to feel. And when we bring this stuff up in a therapeutic space, we can really just allow ourselves to melt into it.
Interesting you mentioned that, Veronica, because I've noticed, I don't want to speak it into being, but fairly often on a Saturday, I'll get a headache. And for a long time, I linked it to park run and the fact that I was stressed while I was running. And then I realized, no, this can't be, because I run every day of my life. Why do I not get headaches when I run during the week? And I realized that come Saturday morning, I wake up way more relaxed than I do during the week. And I know, okay, I can breathe. The weekend is here. And I've realized the headache, I'm not an expert, but I think it's linked to the fact that my body is actually relaxing and taking time to go, okay, what do we need to look at now? Because you're on this, as you say, fight or flight path for 5 days of the week. Many people actually 7 days of the week. But come a
Yeah.
Saturday in my life, that's probably after 5 days of running. I mean, figuratively, not running as a runner, but running hard
Yeah.
to work and chase things. Finally, you're able to switch off. And I think that's what's causing the headaches. Could that be a correct assumption as somebody who treats people who perhaps have things like this happen?
I mean, we often see this, right? Where you start to, as you get onto holiday, you get sick. And it's because that fight or flight, the cortisol levels are really keeping your body in the go, 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 go. And then as soon as you relax, it's like, oh, great. You know, your stress hormones can drop and they can sit back a little bit. And then often there's like, you kind of feel this effect of, oh, all the things that I've been putting on the back burner are now kind of catching up with me. So sometimes even you might even have had a dull headache throughout the week, but you're so focused on, I've got to do this, I've got to get this done, I've got to really sit with this. I don't have time for you, headache. Like, I need you to actually sit back there. I really don't have time for this. And then when you're saying, oh, I'm actually relaxed, and then your body's like, hey, I've been here the whole week, Paul. Really, I need you to just pay attention. You're finally here to listen to me. I just need you to know this is what's happening. And so there really is the sense of like relaxing. And then the body's like, great, I'm going to now speak to you. You've given me space. I'm going to let you know what I'm feeling. And I would encourage you to check in with your body and say, hey, okay, we've got this headache. What do you actually need from me? What is it that I'm not giving you on this Saturday that maybe I can? Let's play with this headache and see, am I thirsty? You know, I'm a bit dehydrated. Oh, actually, I've been dehydrated the whole week, but I've been living on coffee, and so I haven't really noticed it. You know, yeah. So there is definitely a relationship between relaxing and then actually feeling sensations.
Hmm.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Um, and then energy. So I'm not going to get into like the metaphysics of energy, but if you guys just take your hands and you rub them together for 10 or about 30 seconds or a minute, and you can feel that heat starting to burn, you know, not burn, but start to build up. And if you slowly start to pull your hands away, you might notice that there's this fuzz, maybe a magnetism, a little energetic pull. And that's really you just like building that energy in your body, right? And we quite easily believe in things like Wi-Fi and data and radio signals before we can believe that we are also electric magnetic beings. We are also energy beings. There is a chemical reaction happening within our bodies at any given time, and this is building energies. Our cells, we are matter, right? And so when we have this energy constantly flowing through our bodies and we're receiving energy from our cell phones and our iPads, and all of this is kind of coming into us, and there's no way for it to go. And so reflexology really helps the body to create a flow of energy and helps to just allow a lot of that to go out. So we talk about grounding, putting your feet on the earth. This is why it is so important. It's to help that energy flow. So yes, smooth flow of energy for better health. That's what we want. Then we talk about endorphins. We all know, yay, we need happy, beautiful endorphins, neurotransmitters. And there's been a lot of studies that show that reflexology really helps to release those endorphins. I'm sure for you, Paul, I don't know if you experience what they call like a runner's high. And that's all really those endorphins pumping through your body.
I do, yes. It doesn't come on straight away. It's after a few kilometers. But yeah, especially I've noticed I will get it in comrades, oddly enough, quite late in the race, where all of a
Okay.
sudden I get into this zone where you almost
Oh,
feel detached from your body. So I
yeah.
don't know if it's that or if it's just that my body's so tired. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
Why are you doing this to us? No, but that's exactly it, right? The neurotransmitters are there. They kind of dull pain. They help manage stress. And so this is another beautiful way that reflexology works, is it can really help to increase those endorphins. Um, and then, yeah, we talk about how it helps with the lymphatic system, which helps with detoxing. We talk about how it helps with the circulatory system. If you're getting more oxygen flowing throughout your body, you're automatically going to feel better. The detox effects, which is what you spoke about, Paul, is how you felt that like absolute detox, that change in urine is just your body getting rid of the stuff that it doesn't really need to hold on to. And then the last thing that we kind of look at is fascia. So this has been a really exciting new addition into the world of reflexology. And I did a course a couple of years ago, and they were OTs or physios. I think it was physios, and they were saying, it's amazing. We've noticed if you put a tennis ball in this area of the foot, this helps the hip. And we're all going, yeah, like it made so much sense to us. Like it was obvious for us as reflexologists. But it is really exciting to see how people are now starting to realize that we are a whole. We're not just an arm and a leg. And it's like, actually, if the feet themselves, if the fascia in the feet is feeling really good, it vibrates up through to the rest of the body. And the fascia is really quite a new term. I don't know, how many people know what fascia is, because there's an emerging science around fascia. And it's really exciting for us as reflexologists to feel this like sense of recognition in the medical industry as they discover fascia and are realizing these beautiful connections in the body.
It's probably a good time not to go into it in detail, but just in summary, what is fascia?
So fascia runs throughout the whole body. And I think for me, the simplest way to explain it is if you have like a really chunky piece of steak, for example, and you kind of pull that steak and it's still raw, and you pull it away and you see all those white interconnected pieces in between each little like slither of the steak. That really is what fascia kind of looks like. And a few years ago, when in the medical field, they would disregard it when they were doing, working on cadavers. Now they're realizing how absolutely vital fascia is. There's some, as I say, it's very new in terms of like what we are learning about it, understanding it. There's even some theories that fascia is possibly our immune system, that it's all so correlated and linked. But at its fundamentals, if you think of fascia running throughout your whole body, it's interconnected, and you have, say, for example, an injury on you have your appendix removed. And so they cut through all these layers of skin and all these layers of fascia, and then they kind of stitch you back together, and you think, oh, great, I can carry on with my life. But the way that fascia works, the way that the body works, is we're this beautiful, as I say, this beautiful interconnected piece. And if I take my shirt and I kind of pull down here, you can see how up here it's already starting to tighten, right? And so as soon as we have injury to our bodies, as soon as we have tightness, as soon as we have any kind of surgery, we're going to alter the way that our entire body system is functioning. And so maybe you have this, I see this a lot with women who have C-sections, and they start developing jaw pain. They start developing really bad headaches. And I'll often say, as they walk in, and I'll say surgeries, and they go, yeah, C-section. I go, how bad's your jaw pain? And they go, oh, you must be a psychic, and I'm going, no, this is just the way that the body is working. These are the fascia lines running through your body, and you've had major surgery, and it has an impact on the way that you are now going to be in your body. And so, yes, through working on the soles of the feet, fascia is almost, I think, of a spider web. And if you imagine a spider kind of on its web, there's that vibration that moves through the entire web of that spider. And so when we're working on the feet and we're working in a very specific point of fascia, that vibration is moving up and then loosening throughout the entire body. And so when you see, for example, like the C-section scar, and I'm working in the reflexes of the uterus and the ovaries, that fascia is moving. So now the C-section scar can be looser. What's happening? We now have less shoulder pain. How is that relating? The jaw is loosening. And so this is where fascia is really putting the science into reflexology, if I could say.
Very interesting. Thanks, V.
Yeah, I don't know if that made a lot of sense, but it makes sense to me.
Very, very good. And I've always loved that about you, is your ability to explain things in a way that the common man like myself understands, because I'm sure there's detailed explanations and descriptions of what fascia is. I know that Zena, my wife, battles from her shooting. She battles with her
Yeah,
fascia, and her
yeah.
physiotherapist that she goes to is always working on it, and the benefits just after she's had a treatment, it's crazy. So I can understand how the fascia is responsible for so much more than we understand.
Yes, and as I say, it's really an emerging science. Like it's exciting. It's really exciting, and we're just kind of realizing the possibility. A lot of the hype about collagen and is also really related to fascia, and so we're also seeing, you know, a lot of supplements, and people are starting to realize like, oh, we need this fascia to actually really be in tip-top shape for overall wealth and health. But I think for me, I love explaining. I need to see things literally, so that's why I can explain it like a spider web, because I needed to understand that to be able to then conceptualize it. So thank you for that, Paul. Okay, so yeah, we talk about the possible benefits of reflexology, and the reason why I say possible benefits, because just like somebody can take a Panado and actually, you know, fall asleep, and some people can take 3 Panados and it doesn't relieve their pain at all. And for me, this is kind of what reflexology speaks to, is that when your body is ready to receive, when you are at a stage, it depends on where you are in your own healing journey, right? That will really also determine how beneficial reflexology is going to be to you. Some people come in and see me and they've had an issue for 5 years and they think, great, cool, I'll be here for 1 hour. And, you know, if I don't see results, then it clearly didn't work. And unfortunately, that's just not how the body works. There's so many layers to it. And it's really about, some people can absolutely leave here and see 100% the benefit from session one. And for some people, it might take um, a few more sessions. So we really talk about the general experience that most people have. And again, because I don't want to punt reflexology as this cure-all, while yes, it can help with so many things and such a variety of things, I think to just say it's good for everything and it's good for anyone would be quite a blanket statement that I just am not prepared to make. So I think really for me, when I think about reflexology, I think about the way that it reduces stress. And we're experiencing stress from a multitude of sources, right? Just living in South Africa is stressful. I think that we get stressed from our phones, like I spoke about the the electromagneticness of our cell phones, of our iPads, of our TVs. We're constantly bombarded by this. The food, the quality of our food, the lack of energy and aliveness that we have in our food, our exposure to chemicals, to pollution, toxins in the environment, our lack of natural light, our shocking sleep cycles. These are all things that are putting stress on our body over and above just our day-to-day, how we're going to pay bills, what do the kids need, what does my family need? And so when you have that deep relaxation, already you're going to help to kind of mitigate the effects of stress. And we know that increase of stress-related illness is on the rise. It is probably one of the biggest issues that we're having in modern history. So reflexology can benefit and help with people with lymphatics, hormone issues, digestive issues. And I think a lot of that can be for anybody. That really speaks to anybody, whether you're young, whether you're old, whether you have hormone issues or not. There is just a beautiful benefit to be having reflexology, and you don't have to have a problem to come for reflexology. I have a lot of clients who come every 3 weeks or every 4 weeks, and they're like, this is for me. I'm doing this for me. This is how I'm going to love myself this week. This is how I'm going to self-care. I'm going to be proactive again in my own healing, in my health, and just really taking on that responsibility for themselves. And I think that already can alter your state of mind, which already helps you to feel a lot better.
Well, I'm one of those people that enjoy the reflexology. So for me, it's a complementary aid for
Beautiful.
creating an environment for the body to heal itself. Because no tablet or nothing outside of the body heals the body. Everything we take, or everything we ingest is complementary aid, or the opposite. It can damage the body. So I think that working on the functions through the feet and the spine and that is a complementary aid to help the body heal itself.
Love it. Yeah, and it's so true. And often, if I have a client feedback and they go, "Oh my word, you did this," and I'll say, "No, your body's wisdom did that. Your body was ready to receive it. You did that for yourself. Yes, I was there to assist the body to maybe connect in or to realize that it had this potential." But it's so, so true. It's your wisdom from your own body. And I think a lot of times we forget that we actually have that wisdom. We feel disempowered by a lot of people in the medical industry to not believe that we are able to do this. Yeah. Yeah, can do the next slide. So this just speaks to, with any therapeutic treatments, there's always going to kind of be a contraindications or cautions. So, I mean, I'm not going to go through all of them. And again, I spoke to the fact that we do not diagnose, we do not prescribe, we're not a cure for chronic illness. And it's definitely, we're not here to replace medical care. I work with a lot of healthcare professions. I work with GPs, I work with homeopaths, and we create a support, right? A support structure for people. One of my areas of absolute passion is infertility. And it's really beautiful that we can work with doctors and I can be that go-between when a client comes in and they go, "I don't actually know what this means," or "I'm having this experience," and you know, and then I can just be there for them to speak to me about it, and I can share, like I think you said, Paul, the way that I explain things, because often a lot of people feel like they just get pushed from pillar to post, or they don't know what's happening and what to do next. And so we really facilitate, and we can spend that hour with our clients that doctors don't often have the luxury of being able to have, where we can create a support structure, a team of people that can help in your body's natural healing. So definitely we don't want to replace. And I love working alongside medical professions. I think it's the most powerful way. I cannot know everything. And we need a team of people when we're dealing, especially with really big health concerns. Perfect job. So I wonder, does anybody want to do some reflexology now, having heard all of that? Does anyone have any questions?
I'm ready.
Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to work on the solar plexus. So I don't know if anybody knows, the solar plexus is really like, it sits here in, I don't know if you can see me because I can't see myself, but it kind of is right here. And it's known as the abdominal brain or the nerve switchboard. It's really this powerful place. And, you know, we often talk about feeling butterflies in our tummy. I see my kids, like, they go, "I'm not feeling well." They'll often just like instinctively put their hand on this area and really hold into it. So the solar plexus is, in of itself, on the physical body, a very powerful point. And so in reflexology, we definitely use this as a point to help to relax, to bring centeredness into the body and calming. Do you guys want to do it here, or do you want me to just explain? Does anyone want to grab their feet?
I'm sitting on my chair in my Lego room. I think if I try and do this, I'm going to fall off, but we'll give it a go, Veronica.
Let me try. Let me take off my shoe. Okay. Got it.
Beautiful. So you can see by the picture there, where we're going to find the solar plexus on the foot is really kind of in the center of the foot, just below the ball. So we call it a diaphragm line, and you can see this line on the bottom of the foot. I have this guy over here and also can illustrate a little bit. So if you're struggling to find the point, what you can also do is kind of squeeze your foot together, and you might notice that little indent, and that's really where you're going to look for. And I just want to also mention that reflexology is really about intention. So you don't always have to have the exact spot. You're never going to do any damage if you're holding on to your spleen instead of your solar plexus, right? It's about the intention and what you're here to do. So if everybody's found their spot, let's just start by just gently connecting into the body. So just holding on to that spot and using your hand to kind of cup the back of your foot, providing that support. And I want you to not push anything or anything yet, just creating a connection, just feeling into the space. Feel your hand on your feet. Feel how just by taking this moment, you might notice that your breath has already kind of started to still and it's really relaxing. And now you're going to just gently press. And as you're pressing and just holding, I want you to take a nice, deep, slow breath in through your nose. And then let that breath out. And as you're doing this, just visualizing, just releasing tension, just inviting calm, just feeling how your body is responding. Maybe even feeling for the quality of this connection. How easily are you able to connect into the sole of your foot? How much are you able to feel here? And when the body communicates with you, because we don't listen to it often, it can sometimes take a while. So we really need to learn how to listen to the language of our body again. And so this is a beautiful practice that you can just do for a minute or two to just bring you back into grounding, and then doing it on both feet. So yeah, I don't know if anybody's feeling calmer, but that's just
Yes.
one way of relaxing.
I was dropping off, and I don't mean the chair.
You should join my meditation to do an hour.
Really?
Nice.
I'd fall asleep. That's the problem. I don't think I could get very far. We went for a massage the other day at one of these spas. Zena treated me for my birthday. I tell you, I came out of there literally, I could have gone to bed and slept probably for 20 hours. I was just so out of it. And I
Yeah.
think you're right. I think all of this speaks to the fact that we don't do it enough. We don't respect our body. We don't look after it. We literally use and abuse our body, thinking that it can just go on and on and on and on and on. The modern
Yeah.
world, as you've said, is stressful, even when you're someone who is perhaps not working every day, just being alive. And I guess
Right.
that's the nature of man. And so I think when you do take time to stop and listen to your body, and even just listening to you speak, how you were speaking slowly and encouraging us to connect to our body. And even that just, oh, yeah, makes me
Yeah.
want to have a nap.
Yay.
Oh, that's awesome.
But even just, we can even just, as I say, that spot on your hand. So if you're feeling like you're in traffic or you're in the queue at Home Affairs, let's be honest, that's pretty stressful. Just holding onto your hands, it's an easy practice. People don't necessarily need to see you doing it, and you just can drop in. You can just breathe, because the breath is so powerful. The breath is really a doorway into how you're experiencing the world. If you think about when you've had a stressful experience, often you'll go, after the fact, you're like, oh, you'll let out that big breath, you'll let out that big sigh. And we live in a world where we really shallow breathe. We take our breath for granted. And when you're ready to fight or flight, you need that breath, right? But when you're ready to rest and digest, and you start breathing slowly, like that in itself is just a beautiful, powerful tool for relaxation. So by combining this beautiful intention of touch and grounding, and then bringing in the breath, I think, that's just the quickest way to system. And again, taking the power of our health back into our own hands.
Mm. And it's amazingly simple, isn't it? None of this is rocket science. It's just taking the time, like so many other modalities that we've spoken about here on the Coaching Hour. It's just taking the time to do it.
And I think, like I said, Paul, we do it instinctively, really, especially, mothers with their children. If their kids go, I have a sore tummy, we rub their tummies. There's this like natural thing that we're doing. And as adults, I'll say, have you tried an abdominal massage? What? No. And I'm like, it's beautiful. It's so nurturing. It's so loving. And so we know we've just like lost this idea that it's available to us and that it can work. I think that's really what people have just kind of forgotten. We look at the science and the pill and the guy in the white coat, and they're fabulous. They're important. They're some of my favorite people are doctors. So I don't discredit that, but I'm just saying we need to work together. There's other ways.
And as we're chatting now, if you're watching this on Facebook, you will see that Veronica's details are on the screen. So your business is called Be Well Today. You're a holistic sex coach and a reflexologist. And the best way to get to you is via email, veronica@bewelltoday.co.za, hey?
That's it. Yeah,
Wonderful. And your website is a .com.
that's it. Yeah, is it not on
Okay.
there?
Yes. bewelltoday.com.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Brilliant. I like that. bewelltoday.com. Veronica, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. I found this fantastic. I think you do have a wonderful way with words. And I really
Thank you,
need to
Paul.
book another treatment. I think Zena and I have been to see you a few times, but life gets in the way. Weeks become months, months become years. And before you know it, you think, gosh, the last time I went for reflexology was years ago. Have you ever done it, Mareka? Have you been for reflexology?
I have also many, many years ago. I can't even remember, like, yeah, but it was only once. I think it's something that you should do actually often, I don't think once is enough.
Mm,
Yeah, it's like I call it like a vitamin C. You got to make
Mm.
sure you keep in your vitamin C as often as you possibly can when you know you're going through a stressful time. Then let me up my vitamin C. It's the flu season, and reflexology is quite similar. It's something that the more you do, the better you'll have the benefits of it. But it's definitely, yeah, not a once-off cure-all treatment.
fantastic. Thank you for sharing your expertise and your knowledge. And we
Thank
do look forward to chatting with you again at some point. But yeah, personal experience, book a session, give Veronica a call, check out her website, bewelltoday.com, and treat yourself. You deserve it.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Paul. Love it. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica, for joining
Thanks,
us. And thank you
guys.
to you for being here for another edition of the Coaching Hour. And we'll look forward to your company in the next one. Bye bye.